We stand here ready to sign the bill that the House passed last night, anxious to keep the government open, or I should say to reopen the government. The White House position, though, remains the same, that we will not negotiate the status of 690,000 unlawful immigrants while hundreds of millions of tax-paying Americans, including hundreds of thousands of our troops in uniform and border agents protecting our country, are held hostage by Senate Democrats. We continue to remain anxious to reach a deal on DACA, and we look forward to resuming those negotiations as soon as the Senate Democrats reopen the government. The reality, though, that is difficult for, I think, many Americans to understand is if you put forward a bill that continues funding the government, reauthorizes health insurance for 9 million children, provides a relief of taxes that Democrats and Republicans support on a bipartisan basis. The rationale for shutting down the government over a bill that Republicans and Democrats agree with on the basis of saying we will not negotiate, we will not reach a resolution to open the government until there's a solution on a tangential issue that remains plenty of time to be solved. I think a lot of Americans have a hard time understanding how you make the argument of why we're not going to pay our men and women in uniform, our agents serving on the border, in order to try to resolve an issue that we also want to resolve related to unlawful residents.
Early this morning, federal workers got notices from their various agencies as to whether they were exempt or furloughed employees. They sort of fell into three categories. Either you were exempt and you were to come to work either today or Monday, depending on your ordinary work schedule. You were absolutely furloughed, in which case you were not to come to work beginning today and going over into Monday. Or there's actually another group of people that would show up for a few hours on Monday or today, up to 4 hours, in order to close down shop or prepare for the lapse. So those notices went out today.
How concerned are you that the onus of this by the public seems to be on the president?
My favorite is still the Schumer shutdown. So it's got that nice little ring to it, doesn't it? So yes, sir. You have to ask Congress. Again, the Democrats in the Senate could end this shutdown today.
What are you planning for? Days, weeks?
No, we plan mostly a day at a time. You sort of look, there's different sort of things on the horizon that come up. For example, we have a pay period on Friday that would be one sort of goalpost, but we'll manage this day by day. The funds that I've mentioned, some agencies are sitting on quite a bit of carry forward funds. They could go out longer without being impacted. Some have none, so they'd be impacted immediately. So there's no real individual answer to that.
I want to ask for the short-term CR before I do. Is the president still going to go to Davos if Monday morning the government's shut down?
Now, my understanding is that the president, we just talked about this beforehand, that the president will not be going to Florida now, and we're taking Davos both from the president's perspective and the cabinet perspective on a day-by-day basis.
Okay.
To have a shutdown 1 year after the president was sworn in.
Well, Jim, I think it's disappointing that Congress has chosen to shut down the government, and particularly Senate Democrats have at the one-year anniversary. I think that what's hard for us to understand in other times when there's been, I think, an argument over principle, there is nothing in this bill Democrats say they object to. Yet it's like a 2-year-old temper tantrum to say, I'm going to take my toys and go home because I'm upset about something else. It has nothing to do with this bill. And Senate Democrats are basically conducting a 2-year-old temper tantrum in front of all the American people. Thank you.
We'll do this again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Marc.